Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel and happy Bookmas! So I'm pre-filming these videos, or some of them, okay? My goal, I really want to be able to post for the first 12 days of Bookmas consistently every day. Can a girl do it? Who knows? Because I'm in the middle of like 5 projects and exams for grad school. So a girl can dream, but I really want to, so I'm trying to pre-record some videos that I can if I have time. So that is the day today. That's what we're doing. So grab a drink, grab a snack, and we're going to talk about every book series I'm currently in the middle of that I physically own. I might not own the whole series, but I own at least 1 or 2 of the books, and I've read some of the books or something. Okay, so that's what we're doing. We're talking about all the books / series I'm in the middle of and whether or not I'm going to continue with them. And then also let me know down below if you've read any of these series, if you recommend them, if you don't recommend any of the series, which ones you think I should prioritize. Let me know down below. We're not going to make this super long because I have like 35 series I'm in the middle of. 35. Granted, some of them I am caught up with. So there's that. That is a benefit, okay? But there's a lot of them that I'm not. And these are just a series that I've started. There are books that I own, first books and series that I own on my shelves that I haven't started yet. And I have all those series still. That once I read that first book, I'll be in more series. But these are 35 series that I've read part of the first book or all of the first book or the second book or whatever. But I have started it at some point. It's a lot of series. Okay, so let's talk about which ones I'm going to continue, which ones will not. And make this quick. I'm not going to go into too much detail about what the book is about. A lot of these are very popular because I tend to go with the crowd. Okay, they're fun. But I'll give a general synopsis if I can think of it. Okay, but let's get into it. There's no any order because we got 35 books to go through. We're just going to go straight into it. The first book we have is Fourth Ring by Rebecca Yarros. This is a fantasy series people have been recently loving. Her third book comes out next year. This follows our main character and she lives in this world where she's entering, and they have like different colleges. It's kind of like Divergent vibes. You have different like districts that you can go into. She wanted to be a scribe, but she ends up going into the war college, and these students basically learn to survive and train to be warriors, and they match with dragons, they bond with dragons, they form relationships with dragons. And there's like magic, there's war, there's politics, there's a lot of things going on, there's romance, and I had a really good time with this book. I loved this first book. The second book I read, I did enjoy it, not as much as the first book. I don't know if I was in a good headspace for that book as well. I did listen to an audiobook, but with the ending, I will 100% be continuing with the next book. I think it comes out in January, maybe, or the beginning of next year. But this is a definite yes. I'm excited and scared for the next book. And this is a series that I am caught up with what's already out. So that's a benefit. Nothing left to read yet. Next we have Akatar by Sarah J Maas. This has 4 books and a novella out so far, and I have read all of them, so I am caught up in this world. So whenever anything new comes out, I will be devouring it immediately because I absolutely love this series. This follows Feyre, our female main character. She is a human in the human realm, but there's also a Fey realm. In the first book, she ends up killing a wolf thinking it was going to provide her food for her family, but it was actually a Fey. And so then the king of one of the courts ends up coming and saying, I'm going to take you to come live with me, or I'm going to kill you. So pick one. And she ends up going into the Fey realm to live with this prince, king, ruler of this court. And it basically goes from there. Lots happen. This is a very popular series. Beautiful, gorgeous, stunning, amazing. I love it so much. Aquawar is my favorite book. I will 100% be continuing with this book, but I am caught up, so good on that front. Okay, next is Addicted to You by Krista and Becca Ritchie. This is a romance series following different couples and found family all connected in a big series. I do own like 7 of them, but there's more, I think. I think there's at least 10. There's a lot. It's a big, giant series. People love this series. I have not actually really read it. I have started Addicted to You like 1 or 2 times, but I've never been in the mood for it, I feel like, or I get distracted with other books. But I really want to read this series and get into it. I bought most of the books already, and I haven't even read the first book completely. All I know is it's a romance series of just struggles. This one or 2 characters have an addiction, so they kind of use each other to help hide their addictions, and they rely on each other for that, and they form a relationship, and that's what I know from the first book. And I know it progresses into other friendships and other relationships, and there's a beautiful found family. People love the found family in this world, so I really want to get to it at some point. I do. So this is a yes. I want to continue with it and actually read it. I'm not sure when, but definitely want to. Next we have Haunting Adeline by H.D. Carlton. This is a dark romance duology. I read the first book, and I think I started the second book, but I never actually finished it. I would at some point continue with it because it's on Kindle Unlimited. I don't own the second book, so I'd have to see how I liked it to even potentially buy the second one. But sometimes I do feel like I want to finish it just to be done with it, complete the duology. This is like a dark romance. The main character is her stalker. She moved into her late grandma's house, I believe, and she's like looking at notes that her grandma used to have, and her grandma used to have a stalker, and then she has a stalker, the romance, and the stalker has his own life going on with different dark things that he's doing, and it's crazy, it's crazy. But yeah, this is dark romance. But I would continue it at some point. I feel like I just need to be in the mood for it, but I feel like it's a Kindle read, so I could do that at any point, but this is a maybe. Okay, currently when I'm filming this is a series I'm not caught up with yet, but I will be caught up by the time this video goes out. But that is Light Lark by Alex Astor. I read this book for the first time in October, I think, and it's November, and I just finished Nightbrain, and I'm going to be reading Skyshade now tonight, honestly. So this is the 3 books that are out so far. She is releasing 2 more books in this world that's coming out next year, so by the time this video is out, I will have been caught up with it, and I think I will be continuing with it. As of right now, I will continue with the series, but I've seen some mixed reviews on Skyshade, and I think it's because she added 2 more books to the world that it's like dragging out something happening in those books, so I'm nervous. But as of right now, I will be continuing with it. This book follows our main character Isla, and in this world there are different realms and different rulers of each realm, and they all come together every centennial to compete on Lightlark, which is an island, in order to break a curse that was placed upon them many years ago. So every realm has a power and a curse, and they're trying to break that by working together and solving these clues. And that's where the first book takes place. We have a love triangle, we have enemies to lovers, we have shadow powers, all the different powers. We have like skylings, starlings, sunlings, wildlings, nightshades. So all these people that have different powers, and they come together. Yes, I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm scared for Skyshade, but I'm gonna read it. But so far, yes, I want to continue with the series because I love the first 2 books. Okay, next, this also should be completed by the time this video comes out, but as of right now, it's not. So in case something happens and I don't read it, it says on here. But that is a Six of Crows duology by Leigh Bardugo. I am currently reading Six of Crows. I'm finishing it this weekend is my goal, both of them, so we'll see. But this is a duology known as people's favorite duology. It follows a group of misfits that are working together to solve a heist. In this world, we have like Grisha, which are people with like powers. There's different powers in that realm, but there's also regular humans that don't have powers. But they're all working together with Kaz, who's like the leader of this misfit group, to break into this prison and to get this person that is wanted because of something that he is making. And so that's what we got so far. I'm really enjoying it. I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes and how it ends, but I will be continuing with it, obviously, because I plan on reading both books this weekend. So yes. Okay, next we have A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. I read the first book and the second book this year within the past couple of months, and I do plan on continuing with this book. I just want to be in the mood for that genre. It's a young adult true crime series. It follows our main character, and she is basically, there is a murder that occurred in the past, and she thinks that the police and the news did not do it justice and that they got the wrong person. She kind of does her own little project for school where she's investigating this murder and trying to figure out if what conclusion was made was actually correct. That's what this book follows. The second book follows her with the podcast, and she's doing another like murder mystery or missing person mystery. The third book, I'm not sure what that one's about, but I do want to read it at some point. I listened to them both on audio, so this is like a full cast, amazing audiobook. There's like interviews, so it sounds like you're listening to like an actual interview with like the phone calls, everything. So it's really fun to listen to. It's just a book that I feel like I'm going to read it sporadically whenever I'm in the mood for this type of genre, because it's not like a series necessarily that's like back to back, kind of like ACOTAR or Throne of Glass. Okay, but I did enjoy this, and I will be continuing with it at some point. Don't know when, but definitely at some point. Next we have The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This book I read and I really enjoyed it. You can't really tell, but there's a bunch of tabs on it, and I do own the second and third book. This is a trilogy, and it follows our main character, and she basically gets this letter from this random person saying that she's to go to this house, and she basically got an inheritance from this person and doesn't even know who they are and why. And she shows up at this mansion estate, and there's a whole family who's expecting the inheritance, and then she gets it, and they're kind of like, what is going on? And they're basically solving clues and riddles left by the grandfather to figure out exactly why things are occurring the way they're occurring, why he chose to do the things he did in his will. So it's like an escape room, like solving clues, putting things together. Very fun, very entertaining. It is YA. There's like a little bit of a love triangle in it from what I remember. I read this one a while ago. Never continued with it, but I really do want to. Initially, I didn't do the second one because I was waiting for the third one to come out in paperback. Now it's out, so I don't know what I'm doing. But I really want to continue with this. I do want to read this, but yes. Okay, next is a long, gigantic series, and that is The City of Bones. Basically all of Cassandra Clare's world books, Shadowhunter environment. Okay, I have read I think the first 4 books in the City of Bones series. I never read the last one. I don't think I read her trilogy, the Clockwork trilogy, the first 2, not the third one, because I didn't get like in the correct order it is, so you like intermingle them. So I have all of this series, all of the Clockwork trilogy. I have the Lady of Darkness series books, like 4 or 5 of them. I have a lot of the novellas. I have 2 whole shelves dedicated to City of Bones, her world. I have not even read all of them. I really want to continue with it. This is a young adult, I believe, series. At least if these 2 series are. I don't know about the Lady of Darkness. I think it is, because it follows like the people from the past of this world. I really want to read it. I do. I just don't know when, because I have so many other books that are coming out recently or coming out soon that I really want to get to, and this is like a huge commitment to get into all the books, but I would want to at some point. I wish I could freeze the world, freeze the time, freeze book releases so I can just read the series and then catch up. But I do want to continue at some point. I'm not sure when. This follows our main character Clary, and she is a human living in this human world and finds out there's another world that's intermingling with hers, and it's a shadow hunter world, and it's these people that have these powers, and it turns out she's one of them, and it's basically her journey through all of that. Lots happen. There's romance, there's war, there's magic, there's creatures, found family, friendships, betrayal, everything. Everything. I would like to continue it. Just don't know when. Okay, the next 3 books so far are books that I've recently read, and they're in reading vlogs, so go check it out if you want. Or at least, actually, that's a lie. 2 of them are in reading vlogs. Besides support. 2 of them are reading vlogs. I'm in the process of reading them, and we're gonna talk about them. That was a bit confusing, but a lot of these are in reading vlogs, so you can go check it out. But we have Guild, which is the first book in the Plated Prisoner series, and I recently read the first one. I do have the second one I want to read soon. But this book follows our main character, and she is a human turned into gold, and she is this king, the king of this kingdom's like prized possession. He keeps her in a cage, protected from everything, and he uses her just as like his trophy. And that's basically where the first book starts off. Then things happen. There's like treaties being made of her being sent to another kingdom for preventing war, and just things happen. And the first book's kind of slow. It's a bit of a journey and a process, and an actual journey that's happening. But the ending was very intriguing, and I do plan on continuing with the series. Not sure when. Hopefully, I want to do it soon because I just bought the second one recently, and it's on Kindle Unlimited. And I've heard the series gets better and better. I think the final book just came out this month or last month, I believe. So I would like to continue with the series. It's another long one. I need to get to it. But I read the first one, need to read the second one and continue. Next, another long series. Okay, I just read this book last month, in October I read this book. It's in a reading vlog, and that is From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I have finally decided to dive into this series. It's the From Blood and Ash series mixed with a different series that intermingle. Okay, this is a reread. I did read it a while ago, but I do have the second one. I'm hoping to read the second one in November this month. Maybe you'll have seen if I read it in my wrap up. That's coming out before this, but I will be continuing with the series. The first book was good. It was okay. It was a reread. I'm looking forward to continuing with it, and I heard the series gets better, and the intermingled series is also better. I hate explaining what this book is about, so I'm really not going to. Poppy's a maiden in a magical world with 2 different opposing creatures thinking they're the best, and they're competing with each other basically. And she gets a new bodyguard, Hawk, that's like the love interest. She's kind of being hunted down by this prince, evil prince, and that's what you're getting, because I don't know how to describe this book, and there's lots of different types of characters in the series. So, book 1. We'll be continuing with it, hopefully soon. The next is The Crowns of Nyaxia series by Carissa Broadbent, and I do plan on continuing with this book. I read the first one a while ago, and I loved it. I read the novella after this, loved it. I'm planning on reading the next book in November. Again, I'm in the middle of November, and I have not read most of my TBR yet, so we'll see. You'll see in my wrap up, again, before this, if I got to the book, but I'm definitely continuing on with the series. I think the newest book, the 3rd one, comes out this month, November or December, I'm not sure, I think. But this book follows a human, and she ends up being taken in by the king of vampires and raised as his daughter, and then she is training to compete in this trials that occurs every so many years, and if you win, you get a gift from like one of the gods. So she's competing in order to get this gift from the god, and she's entering into a contest as a human with a bunch of vampires and magical beings. So obviously that's going to be interesting. She does have an alliance with another vampire. Very cute, love it. But I love this book, the trials, the romance, I love trials and fantasy books. It'll always get me, and I can't wait. This book ended on a bang, so I'm excited to see where it goes in the next book. I do own it, and I do plan on reading it and continuing with the series. Okay, next we have Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. This is an interconnected romance series, so it's technically not like an actual series, but I do own the second book in this world. This follows a couple, and then I believe the other 2 are like kind of brothers of the guy in this one, in their relationships. I love this book when I read it a long time ago. I really enjoyed this book. I've heard mixed things about the rest of the books, even this one, so I don't even know if I want to continue or not. I feel like I have to be in a mood for it. It's like a chunky romance. I did enjoy this one. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be in the mood to continue with it. So let me know down below if you think the other 2 books in this series or interconnected series are worth it. I will say, I remember that she intertwines like other aspects to it. Like in this book, there's like a bit of a mystery going on. Our main character has a twin, and the twin is like bad news in this town, and so the main character goes to this town trying to find her twin, and her twin had left, and now people think that she's the evil twin, and then she ends up working with like the broody, grumpy neighbor guy, and romance. Okay, Grumpy Sunshine. I enjoyed it when I read it. It wasn't life-altering anymore. Is it worth continuing? Let me know because I do own them. Okay, next, another interconnected romance series, but I just added them because I own all the books now in this world, I think. And that is Love Light Farm by B.K. Borison. I'm not sure what the series is called, the Love Light Farms. Love Light series. I recently read this book like a month ago or 2 months ago, and I loved it. And I bought all the other books in the series, and I'm planning on reading one this month as well. We can see if I get to it. But I'm definitely continuing with these books in these series. They're just fun, wholesome romances, and this one's really good. It follows our main female character, and she owns a Christmas tree farm, and she applies to have this like social media influencer come to her farm for her to get some recognition. And she said that her and her boyfriend created this farm, and she's single and has no boyfriend. So she asked her guy best friend to be her fake boyfriend for the competition, and then things ensue, obviously. So good, so fun, perfect for the fall, Christmassy, December, winter time of the year. Next, we have Say You Swear. Again, I don't know how much of a series this is. I don't know if it's better interconnected. It's a kind of a sports college romance. I read this book a while ago and I loved this book. And the second book just came out recently and I do own it and I do plan on reading it at some point. So I will be continuing on with this series. I think I've heard kind of mixed things about the second one, but I'm going to read it nonetheless because I recently bought it. But this is like a sports college-y romance, kind of like a found family, friendship, romance. She thinks she likes like one of her guy best friends, but then she meets someone else. If you want to cry too, it will make you cry. But I loved it and I definitely want to, I think, reread this before I read the next one just to keep in track, like just to refresh myself on all the characters' names and all the relationships. But I did love this book and I will be continuing with it. Okay, this next book is kind of a random one because I don't own the rest of them. And it is Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. This is Brandon Sanderson's young adult series, and this is the only Brandon Sanderson book I've read so far. But this is like a sci-fi. The main character is like in this college to like fly planes or like rockets and like fight wars in sky, in space, in sky. In space, from what I can remember, I read it a while ago and I did enjoy it. I honestly don't plan on continuing with it. I'm not a sci-fi girl that much, and I haven't really heard much about the rest of the series to make me want to prioritize it compared to some other books I have out of my 35 series. So this is one I'm not planning on continuing. If you think it's like amazing, life-changing, you can let me know down below and I'll consider continuing it. But as of right now, I don't plan on continuing with it. Not bad, just personally isn't worth my time compared to other books that I have planned on my TBRs, okay? But yes, I did enjoy this book, like I said, but it was just, if I had all the time in the world, I would continue with it. But right now, I'm good. So don't plan on continuing with this one. Next, we have When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. This book, Chunker, love this book, okay? This is like a fantasy, romantasy series. This is the first book and the only book out, so I am caught up on this one. But when the next book comes out, I will be 100% continuing with it and rereading this. I started annotating it, but then I read it on my Kindle. Classic me. But I love this book. This is a very vast world to explain the main character, and she's working kind of for this like, rebellion group as kind of like an assassin-ish kind of person. There's like different parts of this world. There's dragons. Each part of the world has like, a different climate, and so dragons can like live and fit into those climates of like super cold, super hot. There's a lot that goes on in this book. There's like a mystery element. There's a romance element. There's like some magical war, politics going on. I really enjoyed this book. I loved it. Loved it. Cannot wait to continue, and I want to reread it. I'm really excited to reread it and see where it continues, but the ending was amazing. So yes, I will be continuing with it. It was so good. So good. Okay, next we have Powerless by Lauren Roberts. This is a young adult romantasy series. It's been recently popular. And I read the first book. There's a novella and a second book, and I read all of them. I really enjoyed it. I loved the first book. The novella I loved. The second book I liked. Wasn't my favorite, but I'm continuing with it because I have to see what happens. Okay, I have to see how this book concludes. This follows our main character, and she lives in this kingdom where if you have no powers, you're kind of seen as less than and kind of like kicked out and banished from this kingdom. And she ends up having no powers, but she fakes it that she has powers. She ends up accidentally saving one of the princes of the kingdom, and she ends up being put into this trial that happens like every year where all these people with powers compete to win, you know, fame and recognition. And she's put into this trial and she has no powers, so she has to fake it till she makes it and try to make it through. We also have some revenge plots going on. We have romance, we have loss, okay, betrayal, everything. It's a lot of fun, a very fast-paced, young adult, banter-filled romantasy, and I plan on continuing with it because I need to see how it goes and how it ends. The next book is a book I recently read, also in a reading blog, and that is Fear the Flame by Olivia Rose Darling. This is a fantasy romantasy series following our main character, and she is a princess to a kingdom, but she ends up being told that she's going to be either the destroyer of the world or the uniter of the world, and ends up bonding to these dragons that weren't like a thing for a while. And her parents feared her and what she could become, so they locked her up away in prison. She ends up escaping, forming her own little spot on the world, and she's seeking revenge and seeking retribution and wants to get her dragons back. And that's what we got going on here. It's a reluctant allies to lovers kind of romance we got going on. We have found family, heist, fighting, magic, dragons. Okay, I love this book. It was so much fun. This is the only book out so far. So again, I'm done with this. I'm caught up with it, but I will be continuing with it 100%. Loved it. Next, we have The Magicians by Lisa Maxwell. I read this book a long time ago. Couldn't remember what it was about. What I do remember was that I don't think I enjoyed it. Okay, I think I gave it like a 3 stars. I don't think I loved it. I forgot what it's about. There's a magician, they're stealing the book. It's in New York. I own the second book. So I'm like, it's kind of chunky. The second one is even chunkier. I know there's like 4 books so far out in this world. I'm not sure. Like, I'm kind of intrigued to reread it and see how I feel potentially with the second one because I own it. And it seems like it could be good, you know, like magicians, stealing books, New York City. But from what I remember, I don't think I really enjoyed it. So let me know down below if you've read these books, what your thoughts are. I think it's like a young adult, but let me know down below. As of right now, I don't really plan on continuing it, but maybe at some point. I'm not getting rid of it yet. So maybe at some point I'll continue with it. But let me know if you've read this series and your thoughts on it so I can kind of help me decide. Okay, next we have The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. Okay, I read this book a long time ago, and I own the second one, and I read half of it and DNF'd it. This is a series. I'm so sorry. I will not be continuing it. I did not enjoy it. I feel bad. It's supposed to be like an enemies to lovers. I don't know what the lovers was. I read it a long time ago, so I don't know much about it, but she's like a human girl in this fae realm, but it's like the fae that are like the sneaky, scandalous, like conniving fae. The main male character and her like bicker and argue and like hate each other. People love this series, and I don't like I could reread it and see, but I don't really care to or feel like it. So this is a series I will not be continuing. You can try to convince me otherwise. From what I remember reading it, I didn't really enjoy it, and I didn't even finish the second book. So this is gonna be a no for me. Next, this is very sad. I'm hoping to film a video with this book soon, so maybe. Okay, but we have Harry Potter. Okay, I technically have read like the first 2 or 3 books in this series. I never finished it. I've seen all the movies many times. I love the movies, and I really want to read the books, and I have not continued with it, and I really would love to. I'm thinking I might be trying to film a reading vlog of me reading the first book again with spoilers and watching the movie and kind of comparing it as like a fun little video, and maybe doing that for all the Harry Potter books at some point. Okay, that's a lot to commit to right now, but that's my goal, ideally. If you don't know what this book's about, it follows the chosen one, Harry Potter, and he finds out he is a wizard and ends up going to Hogwarts, the School of Magic and Wizardry, and forming a found family and dealing with the struggles of being a student and living life, and then also with the Dark One trying to get him and kill him, and just little plots that go on within each book. Fun time, okay? I love the movies, so I need to read them because I know the books are even better. So that's a yes. Ah, the books are gonna fall. Okay, next we have Twisted Love, the Twisted series by Anna Huang. This is an interconnected romance series. Listen, I own all of them, and I don't think I'm going to continue with them. I read the first book, and I remember when I read it initially, I really enjoyed it, but I don't think about it. And I recently read the second one, which is Twisted Games, which is supposed to be people's favorites. And I listened to an audio, and I just didn't really care. Like, it was cute when I listened to it, but I didn't form an attachment with the characters or care to continue with the series. I don't plan on it. There's so many other books to read, and this one's just not catching my eye. This one, it's like a light dark romance. There's a bit of a dark element to it. Like, I think this guy kind of works almost for like the mafia-ish vibe. He's kind of like a bad boy, but it's not like a dark romance. It's like a fluffy dark, if you know what I mean. I tabbed this whole thing, but I don't plan on continuing with it. So, and I just heard that Twisted Games is supposed to be the best one, and I didn't even love it that much. I know people like the other ones, but I just don't think I'm gonna continue with it. So that's a no for me. And then next we have Throttled by Lauren Asher. This is her F1 racing romance series. I read the first book and I did enjoy it when I read it, but I don't plan on, I'm not planning on continuing with it. I own them all. This is my problem with buying books, but I don't think I'm going to continue with it. I just don't really have an interest in it. It's just kind of like a silly, fun, goofy time, which is great. I just don't really care to read it currently. But yeah. It follows F1 racers. All the guys are like on the same F1 team, and then this book follows the girl, her brother's on the F1 team with his like enemy, and that's like the love interest. So yeah, I enjoyed it when I read it, but I leave annotations in here, but I don't plan on continuing with it. Next we have Poison Study by Mary V. Schneider. I read this a long time ago. I own all the books. I think it's like a 6-book series as of what I own, and I read the first 3 and I actually really enjoyed them. It's like a fantasy series. I couldn't really tell you what it's about. I read them years ago, and they're being republished actually with new covers, which is really exciting. But I do want to read the series at some point. I don't know when, but I would like to. I honestly couldn't tell you much about it, but every book is like a different magic. Poison Study, Magic Study, Fire Study, etc., etc. I remember being excited reading this book. I think I did enjoy the first 3, so I would like to at some point maybe reread the first 3 and continue with the whole thing. That'd be fun, getting books off my TBR. But this is a series that I do plan on continuing at some point. Let me know if you've read this though and your thoughts on the rest of the books in the series. If you've read it, it is an older series, so I'm not sure if anyone has really read it, but if you have, let me know. Next we have Shatter Me by Tahira Mafi. This is like a dystopian romance series people have loved and raved about it. I've read the first like 2 to 3 books, I think, and I own the whole series again. I have not continued with it. I do want to continue. I do want to read it at some point and read it all. I think I need to sit though and read the whole series back to back and just binge it all. My problem I think is I read a few and then I kind of like get into something else and I never go back to it. But this book follows our main female character and she is like in prison to begin with, kind of going insane. She's like an unreliable main character and she has a touch that kills. So if she touches you, you die. And that's essentially where it goes. It's a dystopian, so like the world ends. There's like a whole new government system and there's people with powers and all this stuff going on. I've heard good things about the romance in it too. There's a bit of a love triangle. I would like to continue with it at some point again. They're not super long, so I feel like this is a series you could read like in 2 weeks and just binge them all, you know? Okay, next we have Butcher and Blackbird. I read this book recently, last month in October, and I loved it. This is like a 2 serial in the libraries. Fall in love, okay? And connected romance series. The second one is Leather and Lark. I don't own it, but I've seen mixed reviews about it. But because I love this book and the way it ended, I kind of want to really read it. So I do plan on continuing with this at some point. I just don't know when. I'm in the mood for like a silly, goofy, unalivers romance. But I really enjoy this book. It's 2 serial killers who meet each other and kind of have a game going on every year where they kind of work together to kind of solve something and find someone. And they form a relationship. Very fun. Lots of silly, goofy little moments, along with some disturbing moments, okay? But the audiobook was really fun also. We're coming down to the end, guys. We're coming down to the end. Okay, next we have How Does It Feel by Janine O'Reilly. I read this book, I think, like a few months ago, and I did enjoy this. This is a dark fae romance series, and it follows our main character who's like a scientist, kind of tracking these creatures, and falls into a portal into this Seelie and Unseelie fae realm. She falls into the Unseelie fae court, and they think she's a spy sent to kill them. And she's like, I'm just a scientist. And it's like a dark romance. The leader of the Unseelie fae, very dark, mysterious, angry man, and her kind of have a relationship going on, okay? I had a lot of fun. The ending was really fun. This is a reading vlog. The ending, I was like, and I ate it up. And I was also disturbed at times. But I've seen mixed to bad things about the second book. So I'm hesitant to continue. Again, this is another book that I have to be in the mood for that dark romance mood. And I'm not often in that mood, so I'm not sure. But I did enjoy this one. So let me know if you've read the second one and if it was worth it, if it's good, because I'm hesitant. So this is like a potential yes, maybe no, I don't know. Next we have Beartown by Frederick Backman. This is 100% a yes. This is like a fiction story following this small town who's obsessed with hockey and everything is hockey related to a fault, to where things are brushed aside or things are put as less than when it comes to hockey. His writing is absolutely gorgeous, stunning, impeccable. Beautiful writing, will make you emotional, trigger warnings in this, but I love this book and I have both of the next books in this trilogy that I want to continue with. The audiobooks are also really good. I just haven't been able to continue with them, but I do plan on continuing with the series. I love the first book and I can't wait to see where it goes. His writing is just stunning. Okay, next we have Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. This is an interconnected romance series. I had started Icebreaker and I never finished it. It's like an ice skating hockey romance series or book anyways. People love this book. I know the third book just came out in this interconnected series. There's this one, there's like a summer camp one when like one of the guys from the hockey team in the summer camp, and then there's Daydream and she's like a reader and he's something else. I'm not sure. I don't really know if I care to continue with this, honestly. People like this one. This one I think is also pretty heavy with the spice. So I'm not sure if I just even care so much. I saw a booktuber, bookstagrammer, booktalker, whatever that I love. She, I think, had just read Daydream and just that one, but she loved Daydream. So now I'm like, should I just read that one maybe? I don't know. If you've read Icebreaker, the other 2 books in this interconnected series, let me know what your thoughts are on any of them. If you think I should read all of it, certain ones. If it's not worth it, let me know. But as of right now, this is probably like a no. Like a maybe no. Next. Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. 1,000%, 1,000,000% yes. I'll read anything Jessa Hastings writes. Okay, thank you. Absolutely love this world, and I'm depressed that BJ and Magnolia have no more books. But it's fine. We have 2 more Daisy Hates books coming out. I have caught up with this. I've read all the books that are out for this universe. Love them. Okay, amazing. This is a found family group of friends who live in the rich London society and their life. Okay, we have toxicity, we have romance, we have betrayal, we have love, we have loss, we have every emotion you can feel. It's a great time. Okay. if you want insufferable characters that you root for and want them to be happy, this is the book for you. Okay, I love it. I will get a quote from this book tattooed on my body. That's how much I love it. Once anything comes out in the series, I will be continuing with it 1001%. Next, we have Never by Jessa Hastings. This is one of her newer books, and this is a Peter Pan retelling, kind of more of a darker side of it, more to the original Peter Pan story, and it follows our main female character and like her line of family have all been like, Peter Pan has come to their windows. They've all been Wendy's, essentially. And so the main character ends up being taken by Peter Pan to the realm, and it's like a love triangle with Peter Pan. Their name's not Peter Pan, it's Pan, I think. Peter Pan and Hook, Jameson Hook, and it's like a love triangle with it. 100% continue with the series. I know there's mixed reviews about it. I enjoyed the book, okay? Jessa Hastings likes to write morally gray, ambiguous, frustrating, realistic characters, but you might not always agree with. I just go into it for the vibes and see what the story takes me. I'm excited to see where it goes. It did make me want to throw the book across the room. I enjoyed it nonetheless, and Jessa's writing is always beautiful. So I will be continuing with it soon. She has another book coming out, a standalone, that I will be reading also next year, so stay tuned. The next books we have Flawless by Elsie Silver. This is a cowboy romance interconnected series. I do own them all, and I've read the first two books, Flawless and Heartless, and I love them. Love them. And I will 100% be continuing with the series whenever I'm in the mood for a cowboy romance. Let me know what your thoughts are on the rest of the series, because I've heard that some of them later on aren't that great. But I've also seen people saying they love it. It's one of their favorites. I don't really know. I'm just taking it all with a grain of salt and gonna read it and hope for the best. I loved Flawless. I loved Heartless, Cade. Anyways, this is an interconnected romance series following all the men are either siblings or like best friends. And the girls kind of intermingle among them. This main character, the main guy character, is like a bull rider, and then his manager sends his daughter to kind of be a social media rep for him. Romance, gonna be sunshine, love it, stunning, gorgeous. Cade, the Heartless one, the following one is like a single dad nanny book, stunning, gorgeous. I'm continuing with this 100%, and I have her other series as well to read at some point. I've been far because I have a meeting in 3 minutes. Next, we have Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas. This is book 1. She has 3 books out so far. I do own them all, and I will 100% be reading everything that she writes in all her worlds that are hopefully intermingling. Okay, I love it. I read Crescent City before the first one. I have not read the second or third one. I'm planning on rereading this one at some point and continuing with the rest of them. I'm excited to see how it is. I think I've been hesitant because I've seen mixed things about the third book, but I don't care because I'm gonna read it either way. So yes, this is like an urban fantasy following our main character. There's like every creature imaginable in this world. Urban is like more modern day fantasy. There's like an enemies to lovers. She has like this person, main male character is helping her kind of solving a mystery and clue about where this artifact is that's missing. Lots of things happen. It's a wild ride. I'm excited to see where it goes in the next 2 books and hopefully continuing it soon. Okay, I need to. And last but certainly not least, at least at this present moment, this could all change very quickly because I love to buy and read books, but we have the Boys of Torment series by Chloe Walsh, and I will 100% be reading this book. I love these books so much. The first book follows Johnny and Shannon, and it's like their romance. The second 2 books follow Joey and Aoife and their relationship, and I've read all 4 of those. I have not read Taming 7 yet, and that is the most recent book that is out, and that one follows Gibbsy and Claire, and I do plan on waiting, I think, until their little 2 books are out, both of them, so I can kind of read the whole story as one instead of reading just Taming 7 and then waiting till the next book comes out, if you know what I mean. But this is just like a found family, character-driven romance story of these kids in school and growing up and just the struggles that they're facing. It's a very heavy, dark, content warning environment, but it's just so beautiful, and the romance is so sweet and pure, and I love it so much. And I love Johnny and Shannon and Joey and Eva with my entire heart. So yes, I will be reading the series, continuing with the series. Those are all 35 books slash series I am currently in the middle of. Most of them are series. Some of them are interconnected romance series, but yes, so those are all the books. That was a lot of books. Hopefully this video is not 10,000 hours long, but I hope you guys enjoyed this little fun sit down with me, kind of cataloging all the series I'm in the middle of, and then we can see later on if I read any of them, finish any of them, add any more to them, or end up canceling and DNFing some of the series. We'll find out. It'll be a nice little fun game. We can compare it maybe like in a year at the most, go back to this video and see what I've accomplished. And this kind of goes into the other reading vlogs that I do make, which are finishing book series I'm in the middle of, reading vlogs that I have fun doing and like trying to catch up on my series. So this is like a nice little video now for us to look back on to see exactly what series I'm in the middle of at this moment and whether or not I end up continuing with them. We had 35 series, and I did say a few of them that I'm not continuing with at the moment. So I don't know exactly how much that is now. Probably like in the late 20s, early 30s. Most of them I am continuing with, so it's fine. But I have other ones I'm planning on starting soon too, honestly. But anyways, that is all for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to let me know down below if you've read any of these series, which ones you think I should continue, which ones you think aren't worth it, which ones I should prioritize. Let me know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video.